So then we are back with more understandings from the Renewed Covenant, from the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation from the Aramaic came from the original manuscripts of the Hebrews of old, from the time of the prophets of Israel. So then we have the understandings of the future and the prophecies thereof, so we can take our bearings and understand what time, what season we are on, and it is very easily understandable via then the layers of prophetic from the time of Yirmiyahu, and also Daniel, Zechariah, Ezekiel. So then, understanding the first tabernacle service, we begin then our journey understanding the city of God in the desert. On the desert, then, Moshe saw the tabernacle being built while he was then on a mountain. He had a special understanding in the spirit, and he saw then the tabernacle and then the utensil that he would then build. The ark then was also built. Then understanding of the first tabernacle service, then you find the holy ark, the ark of the covenant. You find then in Daniel 9:24, then gives you the anointing of it. The anointing of the Ark of the Covenant is not what people were thinking of oil being poured upon. It is related with a dam of animals sprinkled on it. You shouldn't say it because Yahweh's presence was there. But we can say it as then the item of the ark itself. But then the first Ark of the Covenant belonged to the first tabernacle service and must remain in Jerusalem until the temple is rebuilt. However, the cities must then receive the replica of it. So then they can start up the cities as they were available during the time of the first cities. And those arks were destroyed. So then they had copies of the ark from the original ark, because they had the picture of the ark. In fact, some of those articles found, there are some of them in museums around the world of what they were. They are designs made, and those designs, when you place them in a proper perspective, you find what the ark was like. So they had the drawings and understandings of the ark outside of the Holy of Holies. When the Messiah was then nailed to the pole, his holy dam came down and the rock split. When the rock split, he came down and the ark of the covenant was under him. And then the ark was placed during the time of Yirmiyahu. We find then prophecies related with then the many activities during the time of the temple. But then regarding the precise understanding where the ark was at the time, then we have to return to the time of Babylon, when they invaded the Holy Land, and then Yirmiyahu gives us more details of what was going on with the nation, as many other prophets. And most of the time when the city then was invaded, they have a specific understanding of how to deter the invasion. They had special entrances under the city. So when you begin to read the prophets, you find that every time they had a plan on how to evade then the invaders. Yirmiyahu, however, gives you then the understanding of how then they had this ark removed from the temple. As you understand, the tabernacle in the desert was in a certain size. So then when you begin to read in Kings, then you find the size. However, when you begin to study, the ark was then in a Holy of Holies, and the size of the temple was then 60 by 20, but the original tabernacle on a desert was 30 by 10. So why then was the temple built much larger than the existing temple in a desert? Because Shlomo was building a specific machine system. There was an elevator shaft built under the temple for the securing of the ark. The elevator shaft was found. And because they can't dig at the moment around the area, then they can't find it. But the elevator shaft is there. If they dig around the area, they're going to find the elevating system. So then Yirmiyahu, with this group of priests, you find then in the writings of Maccabeus the time that he went under the cave, and 500 years earlier the machine was set in place with this special elevating system, but then the priests at the time, they did not know how to work it. However, came instructions from heaven on how to use the system. And then Yirmiyahu and the priests went over there, and as the Babylonians were coming, then they activated the system. Thus the ark was saved. When the Babylonians entered the temple, they could never find the ark. The ark was properly secured. Then there was a stone made for it, and it was stored for more than 500 years. So then when the Messiah was nailed to the pole, his holy dam came down, and then his holy dam was sprinkled on the side of the ark, on the top of the mercy seat on the other side. Thus then the anointing was taken care of. The anointing of the most holy. So then those are related with the first tabernacle service. When the people were told to go around the world and form holy cities, they had to have a replica of the ark. Only a replica, and they had these replicas made. That's why they were clustering around, and they were then maintained. Now let me ask you this. Understanding the culture of the Hebraic people and the very intense exercised training for more than 1,000 years, doing this every year. They were trained. In order for you to maintain your training, you have to study regularly. You can't go very far without maintaining the same observances. That's why the Messiah said, "Whatsoever Moses told you to do and observe, these do and observe." Did he not? 23rd chapter of Matthew? Yes, he said it. He knew his people had to go around the world and form holy cities, including the Ark of the Covenant, but not the actual Ark, but then a copy of it. Because then the Son would be taken over the Holy of Holies, because every authority was given to him in heaven and in the earth. So there were many copies of the Holy Ark of the Covenant. However, the true Ark of the Covenant, the original, must remain in Israel until the temple is rebuilt. So then Yahweh, the Creator, maintains the integrity of the first tabernacle services, and then later his son would be taken over and multiplied many cities, and he simply copied what his father did. So then the Levites, they simply read the instructions in the renewed covenant, what Shaul the Shaliach then said and revealed, and they use the updates in Hebrews to resume the service in the holy tabernacles of the second service, as precisely they used to do. But then they have a replica of the ark, and then the son has his time of directives. So then it started making more sense, because people were returning to the truth and must know what they should do. So the nations can absolutely come to the gates and then receive directives and ministrations. Please stay tuned, much more coming up.